Hi, everybody. Reverend Kimberly here, and I am just thinking that I would like to talk to you guys for a minute. I'm here in my office, and I get to spend some time here once in a while. I do want to show you one little thing here. Let me see if I can show you. This is my pillow corner, and some of you have seen this pillow corner, right? And hello. And but I have another pillow with pillows on it, which is my favorite thing. So there it is. See that? Isn't that wonderful? And so this is a great office for people who are tired of adulting, and and for teenagers and children. Sometimes, when we are meeting in person, of course, we're not meeting in person right now, but when we are meeting in person, the kids often come in here and they take naps on my pillow corner, and or the teenagers will all come in and there'll be a bunch of teenagers in here. Snuggling up and reading books or coloring or drawing or listening to music. And so it's a great place. And I thought that I would come here and talk with you all. So I'm talking to you today because I'm going on vacation, which is an interesting concept. We're going to be traveling very carefully to some outdoorsy areas and the state next to us, and we have people taking care of a lot of things at the church for us, and at my house people are taking care of my house, and we're going away. And so always when it's time for me to travel, I don't know how you guys are with traveling, I tend to get very anxious. I'm completely out of the day, as we often talk about in recovery, 12-step recovery program, not in the day at all. I'm worried about I'm worried about the coronavirus, even though we're going to a state where there's hardly any people. I'm worried about not having enough masks. I'm worried about not having enough hand sanitizer, or the right kind of hand sanitizer. By the way, check the hand sanitizer that you have, because a bunch of it has been recalled because it has wood alcohol in it, and or there have been traces of it. And wood alcohol is not safe for humans. And so we've got those issues. We've got the issues. What if our car breaks down? What if we don't find a place to stay? What if we're camping in the tent and I have to get up in the middle of the night because I'm 51 years old? And I know that some of you understand what it's like to be 51 years old and have to get up several times in the middle of the night. And what if there's rattlesnakes out there? What if all these things, and then the worries and the big worries that are going on, school starting soon, and what if there's an outbreak in my kiddos, in the child we take care of in her school? What if things what if the Black Lives Matter movement, for example, what if people just can't change? What if we just can't change our system? What if I can't change completely? And all these worries that I have about what ifs, and they're almost always about the future. And then what I notice in myself, I don't know how you guys notice it, but I notice my heart starting to beat faster, and I get a little sweaty. Of course, I'm wearing a jacket because I have a messy shirt on, but I get sweaty, and I start like feeling some tingliness in my face, and I start maybe hyperventilating just a little bit. So I don't know how you are, if that happens to you. You can always tell me what happens to you when you start getting out of the day and getting into the what we call sometimes future tripping. But it becomes really uncomfortable, and I start not feeling safe in myself, and forget about God and higher power. I mean, I'll just tell you right there, when I'm all worried about the future, I am not thinking about being connected with the God of my understanding, or being a follower of Jesus. What would Jesus have me do, kind of thing, in this situation? Probably I just kind of imagine Jesus being standing right in front of me, and just like Jesus did with the waters when they were like storming up, Jesus might just say, "Peace, be still." And because it's Jesus has all magic Jesus powers, right? Jesus, he's able to make me be still and be okay and calm. I don't know. Maybe the disciples felt calm around Jesus when he had that Zen thing going, that stillness going, that ability to be in the present moment, even when there's storms happening. I mean, there's one storm when Jesus was sleeping on a pillow during this horrible storm, and I'm not sure what that says to us. I don't think that we should be sleeping during storms, but even maybe knowing that God's there with us, even in the midst of the storm, and So I don't want to get all philosophical there, but I do want to talk a little bit about this Serenity Prayer, because I think that I was at a meeting the other day, or someplace the other day. Sorry, anonymity. I was, and the Serenity Prayer was the topic, and it is one of my favorite prayers. And the prayer goes like this: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And there's actually a continuance of it, but that's the simplest part of the prayer. That's that first part of the prayer by Reinhold Niebuhr. And they say it at 12-step programs, almost at the beginning or end or both of every 12-step meeting. And I don't know if you are noticing this, but I'm even noticing, just from saying that prayer out loud, I'm starting to relax a little bit. My heart rate is going down. I'm feeling some coolness on my face. That anxiety that was starting to amp up, that is like, whoa, everything's good. It's almost as if Jesus said, peace, be still, Kimberly. And, that prayer has had so many both great and wonderful praise sung about that prayer. As a matter of fact, some people call it the perfect prayer. And other people have taken a bit of offense to the prayer, and mostly because I believe they misunderstand that first part of it. And so let's just look at this prayer for a moment. Will you look at it with me? So the first part of it is, well, the first word is God. And we can, for some, I know some of my followers are not Christians, or even they're atheists and agnostic, but they have incredible, rich, meaningful lives and spiritual lives. And they often will take off the God as they understand God, or sense of goodness. And for me, I use God in the traditional sense of God, and also this is my church's Facebook page. So in a more Christian, the Jesus-y sense of God, and this space where all love is. So from this place where all love comes from, right? All love and creation and care comes from this space with God. And then the next part is, grant me the serenity. Now, I don't know about some of you, but I am not always aware of what serenity is, or what peace is. Often I have this idea of it, that it means everything's going to go my way. And it doesn't. It's not God, help me make everything go my way. It's God, grant me the serenity. And so this poem came to mind, and I looked it up so that I could read it to you here. And it's called Serenity. And this poem is by Edward Roland Sill. So if you will let me read this to you. Brook, be still, be still. Midnight's arch is broken in thy ceaseless ripples. Dark and cold below them runs the troubled water, only on its bosom, shimmering and trembling, doth the glinted star shine, sparkle, and cease. Life, be still, be still. Boundless truth is shattered on thy hurrying current. Rest with face uplifted, calm, serenely quiet. Drink the deathless beauty, thrills of love and wonder, sinking, shining, star-like, till the mirrored heaven hollow down within thee holy deeps unfathomed, where far thoughts go floating and low voices wander, whispering peace. So that's what I was thinking of today when I was thinking about serenity, and the Serenity Prayer is this poem, and the call first to the brook to be still, and then to life to be still. And in that stillness, I feel when I think and I pray that serenity prayer, what I'm praying for is that ability to have some space for curiosity, some space for a non-judgmental attitude, some space where I can step back and feel a little bit of rest. Now, this is completely different from what is called approval. Around acceptance leak into this area where we're supposed to somehow approve or person or place or thing or whatever, and I would say that 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 gets things really mixed up for people, and it's also in especially in colonial Christianity, right? Acceptance, right? We would talk about acceptance, and we would think uh, more about the proof of acceptance means that we're not going to fight. No one's going to fight this. No one's going to argue. They're going to be compliant. And so acceptance, my friends, and nothing in that poem and nothing in the word acceptance itself and the meaning of it is about compliance or about approving a situation or person. And certainly when I think about issues where people are experiencing oppression or abuse in my own life or in other people's lives, certainly indigenous people, and people of color and women all over the place. Women, there's been this idea that we need to not fight. That the Christian thing to do is to accept, right? What you can't control, and you certainly this, and it's here. The situation is there for a reason. That's another thing that we get. This happened for a reason. Women are in this place for a reason, and people of color are in this position for a reason. And indigenous people, we came here and we gave them Jesus and also gave them a virus of some sort. I can't remember which one it was, but that happens for a reason. And all of these things, this idea that things happen for a reason is something that is not scriptural, number one, and number two is a way that we have used this concept of acceptance as a means to control people and to keep them from standing up for themselves and change, right? And so the first part of it, the reason why I believe the Serenity Prayer starts with serenity to accept the things I cannot change is not because that means that you're going to accept and stay in that place. But before we can do anything in this world, we have to first accept the conditions that we're in. So we're going on vacation. We're going to drive into Utah. Now, I'm in Colorado, right? If I believe that I am in what I said the other day, Japan, right? I don't know what I'd be doing in Japan, but let's say California. Let's make it a little more local. If I think I'm in California and I want to go to Colorado, what direction am I going to go? East, right? Or I want to go to Utah, I'm going to go east. But the truth is that I will end up in right, I'm going to go east. And so I'm in Colorado. And so where I'm going to end up, I'm just going to keep driving and driving and driving until I get to the Atlantic Ocean, which I would love to go east. Believe me, my friends, I miss my home. I miss New York. I'd love to go east, but I'm not going to end up in Utah, you guys. I'm going to have to go all the way around the entire planet to end up in Utah. So I must first accept, by golly, that I am in Colorado. So in order to go to Utah from Colorado, I have to go the opposite direction, west. And so acceptance is the most important thing that this Serenity Prayer gives me, because it is the first step to everything that I do in my life. Everything. And so when we think about what's happening today in the world, and let's think about Black Lives Matter for a moment, right? And for me being a white person and having white privilege, I don't understand what's been going on for people all these years, right? I haven't experienced it. I'm starting to understand more, but I haven't experienced all that stuff. I haven't experienced trying to cry out because people of color are getting beaten by the police, or they're getting discriminated at work or at school or in the medical system, or they're being followed in a store. I haven't experienced that. And so accepting that this is their experience, right? This is the experience. Not only is it their experience, but I can start accepting my experience as a white person, right? Where I got to grow up and I got to see white people on TV, and I got to see white people as presidents and white people as leaders and white people in positions of power. I got to have white Barbie dolls. I got to have white toys. I got to have white Lego people. I got to have all of that growing up. And so this business of accepting, whoa, wait a minute, I have to accept my whiteness and what all of that means and what all that comes there with that. I have to accept that first. If I don't accept that first, I'm not going to be able to change it. I'm not going to be able to feel and wonder what it's like to be white. I'm not going to be able to wonder what happened with my ancestors. My ancestors were white. What was it like for them? I'm not going to be able to wonder when it was when my ancestors became white, because whiteness is not a true thing. Whiteness is a construction. It's a made up thing. I'm not going to be able to wonder that if I don't first accept, yeah, I'm white and I'm part of this. And not with shame, but to accept that this is just, wow, this is where I am, and be still for just a moment in that so I can see it and be curious about it. And we know that, acceptance, there's a quote in the AA literature that says, and acceptance is the answer to all my problems today, right? And acceptance, I would say, is not necessarily the final answer, but it is the first step in recognizing all that is going on around me. And any way that I can make a change, I have to first accept it. And so the rest of the Serenity Prayer is pretty straightforward. After acceptance comes the courage, praying for courage. And I probably need a whole lot of other things and help and support. Changing things I can't change is really difficult. I have a hard enough time just changing things inside myself. If I want to eat a cookie, by golly, I'm going to do everything I can to get to that cookie. So it's really hard to change things in myself, especially when it comes to addictive or compulsive behavior or thinking or viewpoint, any of those things. It's really hard. But and so courage to ask for help, courage to stand up to truth, courage to be vulnerable, and courage to courage to go out to the store and pack up get all the food that I need for our trip, and make that trek out into the world. And courage to wear a mask when I don't want to wear a mask. Courage to ask people how they are. Courage to admit that I messed up. I effed up, messed up, made a mistake. All of those things are really, courage is so important. And wisdom is something that each and every step I pray for. I pray for wisdom, and I pray for that for not only myself. I pray that for our leaders in government. I pray that for my the teachers in the school system. I pray that for police officers, and I pray that for protest planners and protest goers, and I pray that for people who are struggling with addiction and with eating disorders and mental illness. And yeah, that's my prayer. It's my prayer for myself and my prayer for each one of you. And so yeah, so that's a little bit of my take on just a little bit of my take on the Serenity Prayer. And I do have a couple things to show you. Okay, so acceptance, sometimes we have to accept our feelings and wherever it is that we are. And so I have a couple little friends here. Just a couple. I'm trying to look into the camera, which is over here. I have a couple little friends here, and I will introduce you to them. So, and I don't really know what they are, but sometimes our faces can tell us where we're at, and when we can feel into the emotion on our face, then we can maybe get to more of acceptance of where we're at. So this one right here, this is a little emoji pillow, and I'm making that face. That's kind of a tense face, but you know what? I can't really change it when I'm there. You ever try to be like, okay, don't be tense, don't be anxious, don't do it. It doesn't work. So I just sort of feel it a little bit, and then I can try to maybe find another direction to go into. And this one right here, this is kind of a silly little one, right? Isn't she cute? Or are they cute? So this one is kind of like, oh, a little bit of I'm just kind of like sitting out here zoning out, enjoying life a little, and I kind of like that one, and that's a emotional accepting our emotions is good. And then there's this one. Now you can look at this one in two different ways, right? This one could be like on the verge of tears, but smiling at the same time, or just laughing to the point of tears, and either one, being able to feel into it helps us to kind of accept where it is and to be still with it for a moment. So I invite you all to take a moment, notice where you are, notice your feelings and your thoughts. Maybe feel into whatever face expression that you've got going. If it's a little sadness, or a little joy, a little anger, a little fear. And be with that and let yourself be still for a moment. And maybe invite the God of your understanding into that space with you. And when you're ready, you can pray with me. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Bye, everyone. I hope you all have a good couple weeks, and I might be on Facebook, I might not, but have just be good to yourselves and be good and kind to one another. I love you all. Bye-bye. I was going to say goodbye. Okay.